Good afternoon. I'm excited. It is episode number 6 of the Lighthouse podcast. I have a dynamic guest, and I was thinking, I've known Janessa for 20 years. I can't believe it's been 20 years. I was real young then. She was super young, so I just can't believe it's been 20 years. So today, Vanessa is going to talk about going from cows to being consistent, a journey for everybody every day. And just a background, Janessa and I, as I mentioned before, worked together about 20 years ago. We did things, we were going 100 miles per hour. I mean, you agree, right? It was kind of dynamic work environment, right? I
Yeah.
don't know if it was a work environment that was conducive to working out. I did try to work out one time, and you probably know this story, right? So one of the people in the office said, "Hey, you're a couch potato, definitely. So what we're gonna do is and I said I need to have a personal trainer. So I probably definitely need this segment more than anybody. So she says, Neville, what's wrong with you? Why are you gonna pay $60 an hour when we can go down to Gold's Gym and do the Les Miles body pump class?" So I said, "Okay, great." So I went down to Les Miles, put my sweats on, doing the body pump, and I said, "Whoa, this workout is kind of tough." She said, "This isn't a workout. This is the warm up."
Woo.
And my ego got shot. I was the biggest person there as far as height. It was mostly 5'3" and 5'4" people there, like 100 pounds. I'm not anywhere near 100 pounds, and they were killing it. And they're like, "Man, this 50 minutes is over. Let's do some more." And I'm like, "Nah, I got to get an ambulance to get back to work because I can't walk here." So
Not a
so that was kind of my thing there. So, but it was helpful. It did start me on my fitness journey. But I'm like, man, they're not playing around here.
mhm.
So I just wanted, start out, just kind of reflect, just starting out kind of your story and what sparked you. In an early career, I mentioned that we were in Arlington, Virginia, working in the office. And so maybe we were both in a different spot then. So what stands out the most about where you were then as far as your health and for as your life is just maybe just working out in general? Where were you then in that spot? For me, that was definitely couch potato time, but for you, you're probably already active doing stuff.
Believe it or not, I wasn't that active. That was so many years ago. I was in my early
Hold
20s.
up. You making it seem like we old. At least me.
Well, no, but you look great. I,
Okay, thank you. Just
I
for
was in
men. They sell it at CVS and other stores.
Yeah. I was in my early 20s. I believe that back then I was maybe 22, 23 years old. And I was going through so many life changes at that time. I became a mom and young, and I was navigating so many changes at once. I was trying to figure out who I was outside of my career as a new mom. Back then, I didn't have that deep connection with my body that I have now. So I had to start learning what it meant to really take care of myself, and not just physical, but the emotional, the mental, the spiritual piece. And the Arlington days is really the foundation of who I am today, to be honest.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what was the thing, like you shift gears and a stick shift? I mean, what shifts you from, I mean, you mentioned being mom, kind of doing the work-life balance, trying to figure out things. So what was the thing that said, wow, I need to like shift from like surfing and doing stuff, doing deadlines, getting 100% work focus to really investing time and energy into yourself?
I love this question because it's funny, but it's not. I'll never forget this. After I came home one day after a long day of work at the Pentagon, and my then fiance, um, he looked at me, he was like, "You're slipping. Like, look how big your stomach is." And, that hurt me so deeply. And I remember putting on some shorts and I went running, and I cried the entire run, and I was hoping that by the time I made it back that my stomach would be gone, but it wasn't. But it wasn't. And that was 16 years ago. That almost 17 years ago. My son's about to be 17, and I haven't stopped moving since. At first I was doing it to prove something, but over time it became so much more than that. I started moving for me. I fell in love with movement. I fell in love with my body. And it turned into a lifelong commitment for myself.
Oh, that's great. Maybe I need to have my wife say I'm sleeping too. That
No, no.
might take me over that might take me over there, over the top there. So what really drove you to go into being an instructor? I know you had, just going by your bio, you have two studios now. I think you do an online class. So what made you drive to be a fitness professional instructor and help to motivate other people to move their bodies also?
Well, let's see. At first, my journey started for me, okay? But as I began to grow and heal through movement, I realized that I wanted to share that with other people, especially women. And I used to just post all of my workouts or just completed a workout or things of that sort. A lot of what you see people do now, I was doing that almost 20 years ago. And women used to be like, "How are you doing this? How are you a wife, a mom? You have this career. How are you doing all these things?" And, now I look back, I've been a trainer and a nutritionist for 13 years, but now is deeper than the physical. I wanted to help people build a loving relationship with their bodies, just like I did. And I went back to school. Even after graduate school, I said, "Oh, I'm done." I don't want to go back to school, but I went back to school for personal training and nutrition. And, it's one of the best decisions that I've ever made in helping other people, live a healthier lifestyle.
Now, I know you have a special certification. I probably kill it. It starts with an R. Maybe can you elaborate that a little bit more?
Reiki?
Yeah, Ricky. Yeah, I was gonna kill it. I was gonna kill it in the wrong way. So, can you talk about a little bit more what Ricky is and what does that like deal with?
Reiki is all about clearing your energy. I got into Reiki because through the beginning of the pandemic, it was very heavy for me. And not only was it heavy for me, but a lot of the gyms closed. I had to transform my whole garage into a gym so that I can keep my clientele.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of people were dealing with a lot of different things, right? And so I got into meditation because it was heavy for me. I'm naturally an emotional person and I take on what other people feel. And so I started getting into meditation, and then my clients started to feel these things as well. Now, this is post the pandemic. And I was like, hey, I need to help people release this energy. And so I went through the whole process, and Reiki is just all about energy through your hands. For me, it's the energy through my hands, and you lay on a massage table and you get to scan the body. Now, I do feel that you have to be very in tune with energy and the spiritual realm of Reiki. But as you scan the body, you can scan and feel the energy through your hands where people are holding the most stress,
Really? Okay.
and you can clear that energy. So
Really?
that's how I got into Reiki. Of just, I had so many different people, especially women. I really only trained women. I did have a few male clients, but I had women coming to me that were going through the divorces, that were grieving, lost loved ones, lost their identity after motherhood, lost jobs, changing careers, and we're just holding on to so much emotionally. And I felt like God chose me to help them, to help heal them. Yeah.
Well, we will definitely, and maybe after this podcast, maybe we can send some resources. We're going to talk more about the Reiki. I'm a little bit familiar with the meditation because I'm a definitely fan of that, but
Hmm.
I'm not as smart on the Reiki. But I know the meditation really was a game changer for me. Back when
Absolutely.
I was disciplined, I'm somewhat disciplined now. I know personally it helped me out a lot because I was dealing with caregiving and also the loss of both parents.
Hmm.
And at one time, I was up to 500 plus days of meditation. It was different forms of meditation. Some of it was like 5 minutes, some 10 minutes. It wasn't like a lot of time, but it really just cleared my mind as
Hmm.
far as being able to kind of work through that. And I thought at first when they mentioned this, it was kind of like, I'm not really going to benefit from it. And I
Hmm.
really did. And Reiki may be like that. I mean, because sometimes people thinking this one thing, but you got to really embrace it and lean into it. It could really be a game changer for you, for folks?
Absolutely. I live by meditation. I used to practice meditation to where I would wake up in the morning and that's how I would start my day in meditation, just clearing the energy from at night. Because, at nighttime, people dream. You have these dreams and, different things. And it's just, hey, being intentional about how I'm starting my day and then ending the day in meditation. But now I am a firm believer in the word of God. So I do start my day with reading my Bible and in prayer, and then I go into meditation.
Oh, that's great. That's great. I mean, it's a way to kind of, yeah, actually, I think it was a couple of podcasts ago, was it Willie Jolly? He's a motivational speaker here in DC.
Mm-hmm.
And what he was saying is, before I heard this, it kind of changed my thought process. So he says, hey, before I was kind of like a news hound. I was like, listen, I drive to work here in the DC area, 40 minutes. I'm all impressed that I was smart. I thought I was smart. Listen to 40 minutes of news, right? But he says,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, and this is way before, things change, as elections or whatever. He says, Neville, it don't make a difference who's in office. Maybe your thought process should be maybe listen to some either faith-based, motivational, and then now I'm like, I listen to that and I listen to like a Bible in a year that
Mm-hmm.
they have on Spotify. And so I
Mm-hmm.
listen to that and I listen to some other things. Then I listen to 4 minutes of news. It's been a game changer for me because my mindset is different. It's more
Yes.
on things I can be reflective on.
Mm-hmm.
And meet people might have other things that may be like soft music or jazz music.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was a game changer. So now I'm more upbeat. I'm an upbeat guy anyhow, but I'm a little bit less heavy because the news can be up and down depending on what your thoughts are, and people losing jobs, you know, natural
Yes.
disasters can get very heavy. So,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
what would you say to someone who's out of shape? Not me. You don't have to focus on me, but someone's out of shape. Maybe they're ashamed of their body, and they really don't know where to start. I mean, what would you tell them to get started on this journey?
Well, first, I would tell them that you are not alone. Everybody has a start date. Everybody has a start date. There's so many of us who have been there. Think about what you just said. You went to this class and these people were killing it, but it was your first day, right? It can feel scary, vulnerable to start, but your worth is not defined by a number on a scale or the shape of your body. So start small, give yourself permission to be a beginner, focus on what your body can do versus what your body can't do. I think that is so important, and also knowing that movement is a gift. It's not a punishment. And the gym or wherever you find your activity of moving your body, it's a place, it should always be a place of empowerment and not shame. And so just knowing and understanding that you are not alone. We've all been there. Everybody has had a start day in the gym or with some sort of physical activity, athlete, whatever it may be. Everybody had a start date.
Oh, that's a good thing because a lot of time you go to the gym. I mostly do things at home now. You go there,
Mm-hmm.
you see a muscle person, bodybuilder there, and they like 18-pack abs, and I'm like, I had to put like 3 shirts on because I want to see anyone see my abs, and they're like, man, this is like a lot, but they had to have a start date to get to where they are. So just take it one step at a time, and then
Yeah.
you get there.
Yes.
So my intel sources tell me, I've been going on
It's
Facebook and it says that you went to the Beyonce concert.
the
So I'm not sure you're part of the Beehive, but maybe you are. It's no hate here. It's all love.
hmm
So what do you get from Beyonce? I mean, what kind of inspiration do you draw from women like Beyonce or just powerful women? It doesn't have to be entertainment. It could be in any area, but what do you life lessons you gather from people like Beyonce?
Seeing Beyonce it's an eye opener. It's to me it's just like, wow, I have the same 24 hours as this woman. We all have the same 24 hours, and you can tell like from watching her perform, her hard work, her dedication, her discipline. It shows in her artistry. It shows in her artistry, and it just really makes it motivated me. It makes me want to go harder. It's just like girl, you're not doing enough. Like, you are not doing enough because this girl is up here. She got 3 kids. She got a husband. She got millions of people that's coming to see her. You know, some people are going to see her multiple times because she's just that good, you know, and it takes a special type of person and dedication to, for people to just really buy into it. And it's not even buy into it. It's just that we're inspired. I am inspired, and watching her made me feel like you are not doing enough and you need to get on it. Although in my mind, I feel like I'm doing enough, but watching her, it'll make you think that you're not, honestly.
So, question, it's not like Undercover Boss, but say if your studio's open and then like an undercover boss, Beyonce comes to your studio. I mean, what would you do? Is there a particular exercise? I mean, she does a lot of stuff already. I look at her and say, wow, I can't do any of that. But I mean, if she came to your studio, what would you do? I mean, how would you react? You know,
First
what
of all, Beyonce, if you're watching this, oh, if Beyonce came to one of my classes, first of all, I would probably have a moment of shock that we're going to start there. And then I'd get right to it. I would have a mixed playlist, okay, of all genres of music. Definitely some Houston artists in there. Let's start there. But I definitely want to push her and other people in the room past their threshold. You know, when you watch Beyonce perform, you know, it just feels different. It's a different level of motivation to do more and be more. And I'd want that energy in the room to reflect that, you know, hard work, dedication, good sweat, and most importantly, leaving feeling powerful and empowerful. Excuse me, and empowered. So I would definitely give her a good workout. It would definitely be a great workout, and I would love that opportunity.
I think
Hopefully, you know, there's other people in the room, but you know, Beyonce makes you sign that non-disclosure. So she'll probably be here by herself.
you'd be
You
like,
know?
okay, here we go.
Yeah. I would definitely want people to leave with that Beyonce level confidence and drive.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, I know years ago, I haven't done this in recent time. Orange, have you ever done Orange Theory, where you go and they have you like your blood pressure go to like 3,000? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not a hater. I really like Orange Theory a lot, but it's kind of gets your heart rate up real high, and then it's supposed to have like a burn for like maybe 48 hours, depending if you get into the orange zone.
You know, I'm not a fan of Orange Theory.
Okay, that's one of my sponsors.
Sorry. I mean, hey, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm just not a fan of Orange Theory. I'll leave it there.
Okay, no, yep. I'm joking. No, no sponsors for Orange Theory, but if you want to, the Lighthouse podcast won't hate.
Yes.
So, want to shift to like making movement for everybody. So, your mantra or your thought process is everybody, every day. What does this mean in your approach to fitness? Everybody, every day.
Everybody, every day means to me that movement and wellness are for everyone, no matter your shape, your size, your age, or ability level, and that there's always something you can do each and every day to honor your body. It doesn't have to be an intense workout. It could be stretching. It could be going for a walk. It could be going for a hike. To me, it's just all about consistency and building a relationship with your body.
So, if I paraphrase, is it better to do 5 minutes a day than no minutes a day? I mean, it doesn't have to be maybe a 50-minute hit workout, but if you do something to get you on the road, that better, or what are your thoughts on that?
Anything is better than nothing. Anything is better than nothing. We just said everybody has a start day. You know, somebody starting out on their first day, they may be able to only walk from their door to a stop sign. You
Uh-huh.
know, some people, it could just be standing up from their chair in their living room 5 times, sit to stand. It just depends on where you are, and that's okay. And accepting that, as long as you do something every day, it counts.
So, what movement options for folks who are really not into gyms? Some people, I'm not sure if it's like body shaming, they're not really into gyms, they want to go to the gym, or they have some physical limitations. So, what options would you give to people either in those categories, either physical limitations, or maybe they're not into gym? Maybe they're thinking people are looking at them. Like, you used to look at me in that goals gym class. They say, "Who's that guy? He's not doing anything." I mean, but that's
You know, I am one of those trainers to where I like to meet people where they are, but outside of the gym, there's still so many different things you can do without going to the gym. Like you said, you can be at home, you could do things with your own body weight, you can do chair workouts, again, walking. Even some people love the water, swimming, and there's a lot of people also. I used to be an aquatics instructor where I used to work with people who had just had knee replacements or hip replacements and things of that sort. And water is it's a really good source of physical therapy, that rehabilitation. So, there's so many different ways to be active and move your body if you have those limitations or if you have the fear of being in the gym. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to go to the gym. For an example, I can some days, believe it or not. Now, I'm a gym girly and I love to be in the gym, but some days, hey, I just want to go walk in my neighborhood, and I can walk, and then I may break and do, hey, 10 walking lunges or things of that sort. There's so many different ways. You don't have to be in the gym.
Okay. Well, I've seen a couple of your shorts there. They're pretty intense because I think you're like lifting trucks and tires and stuff. So I, I'm like, this is pretty intense. This is, the shorts I'm talking about. They were kind of like they're pretty intense, but they were good though. They were definitely done in the gym.
Definitely done in the gym. But everybody has their thing. And the gym is my place of therapy. But honestly, also, just as I'm getting older, I really enjoy strength training, right? But my joints and my bones, they change as you get older. And
Oh,
so
tell me about it.
yeah. So now, I like to incorporate different workouts and movements that's not so stressful on my body, whether that's Pilates or recently I love taking bar classes. I love yoga, for the stretch and the flexibility. And so it's all about, again, having that relationship with your body.
Yeah, I like that. I think years ago I was too cheap to buy P90X, so they had a knockoff at Big Lot. It was 90 Day Supreme, and maybe I was like push my body too much. I think me and my acupuncturist became on a first name basis because I probably wasn't doing the exercises right, not really following the proper form. So we definitely follow the proper form. So,
Hmm.
follow up question for you. So people who there may be a segment of people who feel kind of going back to the earlier question, they feel made a little bit sensitive in working out in public spaces. How do you get your clients past that fear? Because if you go online, there's certain people that are there. They're doing either shorts for their work for their business, and they say, "Hey, look, I can lift up the whole gym," and then you're in the back like, "Oh, okay, I can't do that." And maybe they feel intimidated when they see something like that. So maybe they feel public workout spaces aren't for them.
That fear is so real and valid. And I always remind my clients that most people are actually focused on themselves in the gym. When I'm in the gym, it's tunnel vision. But one thing about with my studio is it's all about creating a safe space, right? Because people are in so many different places in their lives, and so they have these fears for different reasons. And so it's always important to meet people where they are. And it was very important for me, like at my studio, to create a safe space where everybody feels safe, everybody feels seen, they feel heard, and the support was real. I've always been a one-on-one type of trainer, but I noticed that I created this safe environment for women to where they got out of that fear and wanted to be around other women, who were in similar spaces. And so I encourage people to just go in with a plan. Let me say that wherever your place of workout is, go in with a plan, bring a friend or support, start small. That's how you build your confidence. If you want to start it at home, build your confidence, but make sure that you're in a place where you feel safe and seen. But those feelings are valid. And a lot of people, they feel that.
Yeah, I appreciate your insights. I just want to shift to staying consistent through real life. So, what are your top strategies to help people stay consistent, especially when motivation fades? And let me elaborate a little bit more. So you're going to work, you're going to go from 9 to 5. Some last minute task happens, and maybe it goes from 9 to 7. You're exhausted. I was going to work out. I was going to do daily burn today, but now I'm just too tired. So how do you cope with that? Just being consistent. Life happens and it might throw your energy off.
One thing that's for sure is that motivation comes and goes. Okay. So I would first like to say focus on building habits and routines instead of relying on the motivation. And some strategies is definitely, I would say, scheduling your workouts like you schedule your doctor appointments. And setting realistic and flexible goals, celebrating those small wins along the way. One thing, again, this is from personal experience and my clients, is I don't compromise my workout time. There's 24 hours in the day. I do so much and wear so many hats. We do so much for other people. We deserve to give ourselves at least 30 minutes to an hour to honor our bodies. And so schedule it. Make your movement a part of your daily routine and put it on your calendar, and don't compromise that at all.
You just use it on your phone or the particular app that you say, like, hey, go to the gym, Janessa, it's 7:30 or whatever. I need to, you definitely, I mean, how do you hold to it? Because you can always, it's kind of like going to work. You might hit the snooze button, but for work, you have to go. But if you hit the snooze button on the gym, there's no fitness police. I mean,
That's why I said motivation comes and goes. You have to schedule it. For me, I just plug it in. I have it on my phone,
okay.
and that's just if I'm personally taking a class, I know what day.
Hmm.
But also at home, we have a calendar on the wall, and my workout time is on the calendar every single day. And I get things do pop up, whether that's work related or illnesses, children, whatever the case may be. But outside of that, it stays, and we don't compromise that. And make realistic goals. If you know that you are not a 5 a.m. person, there's no reason why you should schedule a 5 a.m. work, because that's not realistic for you. And then today, so many people can work from home or remote. If you know that you can use your lunch break to go take a class, then do that. If you know that, hey, before I go home after work, I'm going to go to the gym, then do that. But it's all about setting those realistic goals and locking it in on your schedule. Make it a routine.
Okay.
Hmm.
How do you personally bounce back, kind of in that same arena? Like if things are, stress from whatever work, personal, whatever, burnout, or you hit a setback. How do you bounce back from those little bumps in the road or speed bumps? I mean, because they can kind of throw your thing off. Because I know I was doing caregiving, doing other stuff, going 100 miles per hour, doing things, and then you're embracing that, which is important. But then they can kind of derail your physical activity. Thoughts about that?
Yeah. It's called grace. It's called grace. You have to give yourself grace, and there are moments in life where we want other people to give us grace, when we're not at our best, and so we owe that to ourselves to give ourselves grace and reminding ourselves that we don't have to be on all the time, and that rest is a part of the process. There's going to be some setbacks, and again, speaking from personal experience, I've had several setbacks, but you go back to the basics. You go back to the basics, you move your body in gentle ways, you nourish yourself, you reconnect with the activities and the people that fill your cup. And you don't feel like you have to just get back in it full force, right? Give yourself grace, and also I would say reflect back to your why.
Okay.
Go back to your why of, why you started and the impact movement has, on your mental and emotional well-being. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up for yourself.
I like that.
That's what I would say.
I really love that. So what tips? I mean, obviously, we definitely need to get your resources, or we can share that with the Lighthouse podcast family. So, what tips will you give someone that's starting alone? So, they're hearing this, that they're motivated, they're gonna. Well, I want to date myself. Back in the day with Tybo, but now there's like 1,000 streaming services there.
Mhm.
So they want to do that, but then they not sure which one. What should they do to get started? Just doing this, by themselves initially.
Everybody needs an accountability partner, whether that's a friend, whether that's a parent, a relative, somebody that's going to hold you accountable, starting small, maybe it's a group of friends. And, now with the Apple Watch, you can share activities and, start these small challenges of who can move the most steps every day or burn the most calories or things of that sort. Have a good support group. Support groups are needed, and then the next step, if you have the disposable income to hire a personal trainer and a nutritionist, somebody that's going to teach you, show you, and educate you on, the right movements for your body, the proper nutrients that you should be putting in your body, that's accountability as well. Do what works for you. But we all need accountability. We all need that accountability partner. If you're in a relationship, it can look like, hey, did you go do cardio today? No. Do you want to go to the gym? Did you go to the gym? Or, hey, we need to meal prep. Let's meal prep. Let's get the food done for the week to make sure that we stay on target, with our macros and things of that sort. And so we all need accountability.
It can't. Well, we're mostly focused on the nutrition side. I know years ago when I had a personal trainer, they said, "Well, hey Neville, you did a great job here. This 30 minutes, an hour, whatever." But if you go to Popeye's Chicken directly after this workout, say, "Oh, your eyes are getting big already. I'm hitting the spot already. I'm hitting the spot already." So I don't know for this hour session that 3 piece of delectable Popeye's chicken with that biscuit dripping with butter. I don't know. You need about 8 more workouts to burn that off. So can you talk about nutrition part of that kind of journey? I mean, because nutrition is a key. It's the fuel to do the workouts and just do life.
Nutrition is so important because I tell people you have to feed your body. You're not going to be able to perform and do your workout at the fullest potential without feeding your body, right? That's A. Because food is like gas in a car. You need gas for the car to drive, and your body needs food for it to perform and work out, especially if you are doing strength training and working with volume. Okay, let's go to the next step. If you're trying to tone and, have more definition, then after you work out, you have to feed your body because now the muscles need food so that they can grow. And a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think that I'm just going to go work out and I'm not going to eat. Well, that's really doing your body more damage because now you're slowing down your metabolism.
Okay.
Okay. Now, pause because I am a fan of fasted cardio. Now, fasted cardio is when let's just say you wake up in the morning, your alarm goes off at 5 a.m., you go get on the treadmill for 30 minutes, okay, and then you feed your body. What happens then with fasted cardio is that now your body is pretty much burning twice the calories, right?
Really?
But that doesn't mean you need to go in the gym and lift volume on an empty stomach. That it's not going to work.
Okay.
You can pass out. Okay. And then with nutrition, if someone is only eating once or twice a day, okay, you are slowing down your metabolism tremendously. What you should be doing is feeding your body several times a day, small portions. And what that does is it speeds up your metabolism. But there's this myth that if I don't eat, that I'm going to lose weight, and it doesn't work that way. So feed your body more, smaller portions. I say 3 solid meals, 2 healthy snacks. Make sure you're getting your protein and those healthy carbs in. So then what happens is, let's just say going to Popeyes. You just mentioned Popeyes. If I go and I eat Popeyes and then I go work out, let's say hours later, I'm not going to even burn a third of what I just consumed, right? So the issue is we want to get to the stored fat. And in order to the stored fat is the fat that we already have in our bodies, right? So we have to regulate our metabolism. Then when we go do our cardio and our exercise, now we're burning calories, the stored fat, not the
Okay.
fat that you just ate, not what you just ate. We're not too much worried about what we just put in our stomach. We're worried about the stuff that's been sitting in our stomach for a long time, the fat that we want to get rid of. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yes. And so there's this big misconception of I'm only going to eat once a day and I'm going to lose weight. And, these get quick diets where you lose weight quickly. But then what happens is as soon as you get off that, let's just use keto, for example. I don't knock the keto diet and I'm not saying that I'm against it. But what I do know is if somebody's on the keto diet and they are able to lose 30 to 40 pounds, as soon as you get off that keto diet and you start eating normal, you're going to gain the weight back so fast. So,
Yeah,
nutrition is all about establishing healthy, and feeding your body the proper nutrients, but enjoying your food too in moderation, if that makes sense.
that makes sense. I know that at one time, but I'm not doing that now because nutrition wasn't a fan. So I was doing the intermediate fasting for like, what, 14, 16 hours. So
Hmm.
actually, I felt pretty good, but I was just doing it. I am a fan of Weight Watchers. So
Hmm.
that was a plug. That was a plug for my Weight Watchers crew. So I would do it, and the weight was looking pretty good. But then nutrition says, "Well, Neville, have you noticed that late at night you're starving?" I said, "Yeah." She says, "Well, maybe you should do the." I mean, it's no shame in the game. It was working, but maybe I was kind of a novice at the intermediate fasting. She was kind of coinciding with what you saying is maybe go for more protein during the day, and then you won't be famished at night, and then you won't wind up with an empty Dorito bag next to the bed. But you know what I mean. But that she was more of a fan. This like you don't try for anything that's crazy. Well, I'm not saying intermediate fasting is crazy, but go for consistency as opposed to a silver bullet.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of intermittent fasting. I just don't believe in that.
Hmm.
And that's just my opinion. And I am a strong believer in your last meal just being very hearty, whether that's a turkey chop,
Hmm.
or chicken breast or even salmon, some salmon with some roasted red potatoes, some green beans, something that is very filling, that's not going to have you up with those cravings in the middle of the night because the cravings are real.
Yeah, cravings are real. I'm a victim of cravings.
Yes, the cravings are real.
There's no shame in the game, but their cravings is a thing. So beyond the physical, how has consistent movement changed your relationship with your body, physically, emotionally, or even spiritually?
Woo! Oh man, movement completely transformed my relationship with my body. Physically, I feel stronger and more connected. I can go in the gym with my 17-year-old son and I'm still outlifting him. You know,
Really?
42 years old and he's a
We
football.
need we need a video.
Okay, hold me to that. Hold me to that. And so yeah, I feel stronger and more connected emotionally. It's been therapy. It's taught me more patience and self-compassion. Spiritually, it's helped me tune in, listen to my body and honor it, as a gift rather than something to fight against or constantly change. And I have a really good relationship with my body and movement has transformed my whole way of thinking and doing things in life.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. So, what is the most rewarding thing that you have seen for your clients, and how maybe their body has transformed?
One of the most rewarding things for me, I would say, would be watching my clients fall in love with what their bodies can do versus what their bodies look like.
Okay.
And for example,
What does that mean? Can you elaborate a little bit more on what that really means?
there's nothing like a woman coming in and you'd say, "Okay, we're going to do push-ups." I can't do a push-up.
Hmm.
I can't do a push-up. Can I do a woman's push-up? Sure. But then she doesn't know that as she's coming in and we're working on upper body and then boom, one day she gets down and she does a push up and she's proud of herself. And she's like, oh my goodness, I just did a push up on my own. And it's saying, yes, you came in here, and you couldn't do one. And
Okay.
watching them fall in love with the increase of their strength and the body and the way that their bodies can move and the things that their body can do now as opposed to what they weren't able to do. And it wasn't about being focused on what they weren't being able to do, but just to see the growth and the strength that they have obtained during that process, or a client running their first mile, never being able to run before, or just I also have clients who, every week we have check ins, where we have to do pictures, we have to do weigh in, and you have some clients who just have a fear of taking pictures because they don't like the way that their body looks. But then you see that shift, and then they come in and they're like, okay, are we ready to take pictures? And it's just like, oh, wow, now you're comfortable in your skin. And, there's no better feeling than that. Just seeing somebody confidence increase. And those are the moments that are most rewarding for me.
I mean, it's almost like based on your passion, it's almost like you would not saying you would do it for free, but it's more transformative where you see a real impact in the people and what they're doing and how it's impacting their lives long term. So that's a great connection right there.
It's funny that you said that because I often tell people, although I have to be compensated because this is my job, right? But I'm not doing this for I don't do it for the money. And if I could do it for free, I would. I really would.
It's funny you mentioned that. So before my mom passed, right, she actually had a personal trainer to
Hmm.
come in, and her name is Sue, and Sue's gift to my mom was buy one lesson, get one free. And so she would come in and do either 30 minutes to an hour session twice a week. And I personally, on a heartfelt note, extended my mom's life probably at least 3 to 4 years because my mom was in the 80s, but that physical activity was a great thing. I mean, and so it wasn't that she was doing it all for financial part of it. She got some compensation, but
Hmm.
then, I said in the grand scheme of things, it was transformative for my mom. And I know it can be transformative for people if you just, that investment of time in yourself can definitely be a game changer. So I can tell by your energy there that you definitely have a passion in this. So,
Yes.
as we wrap up this thinking, maybe someone comes, they listen to this, they say, that's great. She's talking about maybe 5 minutes here, reduce my Popeyes, instead of getting two of the specials, I'm going to go down to one, but I don't know. I'm in my 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever age. And they might be telling themselves, man, it's too late for me. What do you tell them?
It's never too late. It's never too late. You're not too old, too out of shape, too far gone. Your body is always capable of change. It's always capable of change and growth. Start small, meet yourself where you are, and know that every step forward, no matter what, no matter how tiny, but it matters. And you deserve to feel strong and live at any stage and feel alive at any stage, and that's what I would say.
Oh, that's powerful. So, we gave a lot of great information, almost 45 minutes into our 47 minutes into our podcast. Are there resources that you can give or, tell folks, or you can email me, or, I mean, but while we're here on the show that, you can give to people?
Yes.
I mean, how they can find you online? Because I mean, trust me, I've seen those workouts. I think she lifts max trucks, but don't be scared. I've seen, I think I've seen your shorts. They were pretty impressive. I was like, whoa, this is like Washington Commanders Dallas Cowboy training camp action. They were impressive. Though. I'm like, whoa, this is a different Janessa. This is not this is not the cubicle person. We're cute people.
No.
This is like real things here. So on a real note, is there like resources? Or you have a LinkedIn page, or what's the best way to connect with you?
I am on LinkedIn, but I'm on social media now. I do not post often. I'm just not a marketing girl. I should be, but I'm not. But my fitness page is Fitness with Nessa,
Okay.
and that's Nassa, Fitness with Nessa. And
Can you do that again? Fitness with get the last thing.
NASA. And my there on that page, you could reach me by email or phone.
Okay.
So there's a button for that. And my email address is the same, fitnesswithnessa@gmail.com.
Okay. Okay,
And
cool.
that's how they can find me.
So I know you have online classes. Hopefully, they're not like 8 hours or something. I mean, how long are your classes? Are like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or it kind of varies depending on what you're trying to obtain.
So I don't do class, I do one-on-one training sessions.
One-on-one training sessions. Okay. Okay,
I do
great.
one-on-one training sessions, and each session is typically about 45 minutes to an hour. If it's somebody starting out, I would probably say about 40 minutes, but within a few weeks, as you increase your endurance and things of that sort, we typically go for about an hour.
Okay.
And yes.
Okay, great, great. I know that can be impactful. I've had one-on-one sessions before because when I was doing the Goals Gym, I can maybe like slough off a little bit in the corner. Not this is a trick here for the audience. You get in the corner and you figure the corner where the instructor can't see you. But with this, Janessa is going to hold you 100% accountable right there on your screen. Like, hey, get up. You're not doing this exercise right, which is actually going to be more impactful for you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, you can't hide. 101, all eyes on you. And I like to do one-on-ones because I feel like when you do group, now I've done it all. I've done group and everything, but I feel like people have different goals. People are at different fitness levels, and you can't train everybody exactly the same. And
That's
so
true.
I like it to be more personalized and making sure that they're getting what they paid for, and that I'm really helping them achieve their personal goals.
Yeah, and I know it can be impactful because I know my mom's personal trainer would do one-on-one session. When I was at work, she would actually videotape it and then send it to me. I'm like, whose mama is that? I mean, I was like impressed. It was like when I get home, she's like, I think the title I think is couch potato. So when I'm getting home, she's a couch potato. But I'm watching this thing, I'm like, wow, you ready to try out for like the Olympics or something? So I think the one-on-one can be impactful. So
Yeah.
I think that's all what I have. I really appreciate your time. Any additional kind of wrap up comments you want to pass to the Lighthouse podcast audience? Things. I mean, we talked about reaching out with to you on fitness with Janessa.com. You also email, but any just big takeaways on going from couch to consistency, a journey for everybody every day.
Just fall in love with you. Self love is the best love. You owe it to yourself to take care of your health, mind, body, and soul. It's just not the physical, it's the overall well being. Once you become healthy mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the physical piece is the easiest. So I would say focus on self love, give yourself grace. If you've never worked out or if you haven't worked out in a long time, just start off small, whether that's 10 to 15 minutes, and build from there. And know that there are people out there that will support you. And if you don't have anybody to support you, reach out to me because if nothing else, I will be your accountability coach. I will send you those reminders or whatever it takes to help you, at no cost. It's just we all need a support system. And just know that you are not alone and that there is somebody out there that loves you and will support you.
Okay. Hey, thanks. I think that's all we have for this. This was a dynamic podcast number 6 with Janessa, and
Yeah.
hopefully, definitely reach out to her. I've seen the videos on the shorts, and you'll be okay. You'll be okay. You'll be in your best shape ever.
That's right. Thank you, Neville. I appreciate you.
Me too. You also.
Okay. Thank you.